1, 2. All right, so Down to the Waterline holds a very special place in the hearts of Mark Knopfler Dire Straits fans, as obviously it's the very first song from the very first album. And if you're a good boy, fanboy, or fangirl, you listen to this song a lot. I was also reminded of this song in the recent review of the debut album on the Pearl Acoustics channel, and I'll put a link to it in the description. I'm not a fan of reaction type videos, but this time this one is very good. I don't know about you, but when I think about this song, my mind goes straight to the fast lick in the guitar intro. I tried to play it for years, tried to slow it down, and was never satisfied with the results. Though on the surface it's a relatively simple chicken picking riff. I thought I understood the concept, but I would always get upset that I couldn't get the beginning and the ending right. So I ended up approximating it, thinking I'll never learn it. But it's the first fast run in Mark's music, and I think it deserves attention. And it definitely showcases finesse and attention to detail that goes through the entire Mark's discography. And it's cool that you can play it on any guitar, acoustic, electric, classical, it doesn't matter. So if some of my viewers will be inspired to pick up the guitar, to try to learn this riff, and I know they will be. First of all, good luck. And especially for you, I'll be as detailed and as slow as possible. I think I got it now, and I'm ready to share my thoughts about it. First, I'll show the simplified version of the riff, explain every little detail beat by beat, and I'll show the ways I can loop parts to learn it or think about it, and how you can bring it to life with some finger-picking magic. All the sheet music and tablatures are in the description. Let's go. The context. The riff is played over the just two chords as part of the intro of the song. It's in B minor, and it goes like this. 2 bars of G, 2 bars of B minor, 2 bars of G, 2 bars of B minor. The fast phrase is played over the last 3 bars. And right away, I want to point out something that drives me crazy, which is when people play it toned down. It's actually this aggressive sound. In your face. Mark is borderline slapping here. At least play it closer to the bridge for this aggressive tone. Which is a problem, I realized, because in my experience teaching this music, I realized that's exactly the rule that has to be broken. When Mark talks about breaking the rules and making guitar teachers mad, I think that's the reason. You need to play this really hard. Whereas most people would approach it differently and save their hands. I must start from here because it really goes against the rules, as relaxation is key, but not if you want to achieve the same kind of sound. So that would be the first kind of insight. It's aggressive and loud. too much force can actually damage your hands in the long run, so be aware. The riff starts on 3, and by that I mean 1, 2. And in order to play it, you definitely need to have a solid understanding of time, how it works in music, which is not that complicated, to be honest. It's all about counting all the numbers. And I'll present my simplified version without any embellishments, in crystal clear form, easy to understand, with all the 16th notes, so each beat would contain 4 equally spaced notes. The first bar. The majority of this riff consists of alternating thumb and index finger in the picking hand. So I would try to do just that first. And the point here is to feel this pleasant sensation of successfully engaging this amazing sound with 2 simple moves. And it can get quite fast too. This is pretty much a substitute for the up and down move with a plectrum, where the thumb is down and the index finger is up. The first piece of the puzzle, the first beat, is this fast phrase. So that would be thumb in the picking hand, ring finger 9th fret 4th string in the fretting hand, then index finger in the picking hand, 7th fret 4th string, index finger in the fretting hand, to another thumb in the picking hand, ring finger 9th fret on the 5th string. Last note is index finger in both hands, 7th fret, 4th string. These 4 notes take 1 beat. Like I said, the phrase starts on 3 and it lasts for an entire beat. So by the time this bar is finished, it's only 2 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 2 repetitions of the phrase. And this index finger is the very last note of this particular bar. And you can also hear I put an accent on the first thumb here. And the accent represents the strong beat in music. So even though the 3rd note is also played with the thumb, the note itself is in the weak position, not on the beat. Hence, no accent here. The second bar. Let's continue with the second bar of my simplified version. It's the most difficult bar in this entire phrase, so I warned you. And the next bar starts with the thumb playing the same note that ended the previous bar. And I just said the very last note of the previous bar was this index finger pluck. Now the same note starts the second bar, and it's the downbeat played with the thumb and with an accent. In other words, it's the 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. It was the first note in the group. The next 3 notes in the first beat of the second bar are on the 3rd string 7th fret. As the previous note was played with the thumb, these notes, 3 notes, are played using index, thumb, index in the picking hand. And I would suggest switching the string in the fretting hand instead of trying to play a bar here. It will make sense later. So that's the first beat. The second beat of the second bar continues on the same note as before and consists of 4 notes played with the same alternating thumb and index finger. The catch here is that this first note is the loudest note of the entire bar. And if you combine the 2 beats, you may notice the same note gets repeated 7 times here. Which sounds too complicated until you remember that the accents are on the first and on the 5th notes here. 1, 2, 1, 2. Sounds like this. The phrase gets extremely rhythmical here, and the reward will be when you fully understand and can play the first and the second beat of the second bar is the ending, which is probably the easiest part of the phrase. And it goes double 9th fret, 4th string, double 7th fret, double 9th fret, 5th string, double 7th fret. 2 beats, 8 notes in total. Of course, with alternating thumb and index fingers. And the entire bar ends up sounding like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. The third bar. That was the entire second bar. For the third bar, it gets really interesting because I want this D note here, but in order to get to this note, I need to either switch the position from 7 to 5. Position basically means the location of the index finger in the fretting hand. Or I can also play it up here, but it sounds quite bad. Another option would be an open string, but it's even worse. So all I can do here, realistically, is switch the position of the fretting hand to maintain the fast pace of the song and good sound. But the problem is the fast pace, because you need to basically switch your hand in 1/16 of a second and continue playing, which sounds too difficult. So the best way to sort this part out is to use the oldest trick in the book. Of course, open strings. So I play open 5th string with the thumb on the downbeat, then the 5th fret on the 5th string with an index finger. same story now repeats. The note I need next is this B. So it's either the 2nd fret on the 5th string or the 7th fret on the 6th string. But the latter sounds kinda bad. So I'll just use the same trick and go to the B through an open string. It will make sense in the next chapter, where I'll discuss all the details. Now it's the time for details, but first of all, I played the simplified version a few times, so hopefully you'll have an idea how it's supposed to sound. 1, 2. One, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. This last chapter is all about muted strings, because it's notoriously the hardest thing in guitar playing, because it's essentially something you don't play. It's the absence of sound. You can barely hear it, you can barely see it. It's like a black hole of guitar playing. First of all, the phrase doesn't start from nothing. It starts from these muted strings. And this time it starts on 2. 1. And it has this galloping sound. I use the index and middle fingers for this downstroke on strings 3 and 4. It's 2 downstrokes in a row and then a pluck. After that, the phrase starts, but instead of alternating thumb and index, I replace the 2nd note with a pull-off. This explains why I play with 2 thumbs in a row here. Because the pull-off replaces the index finger pluck here. Compare the sound. It's actually the same move used in the famous Tweedly beats from Sultans of Swing. Same exact idea. And of course this pull-off makes it easier to play fast. When I get to the end of this first bar, the last note on the index finger pluck is muted. Same with this thumb that plays the 1 in the next bar. 1, 2, 1. And even the next note is muted. If you remember, it was an index finger pluck on the 3rd string, 7th fret. But the thumb playing the next note is not muted. It plays regularly. And it's a very short staccato note. I mute it with my left hand immediately. So you've got 3 muted strings here. Which already sounds so good. The next note I miss entirely. It's a pause. And while it happens, I have plenty of time for the next move, which is this muted downstroke. I play it with the middle finger in my picking hand, unlike the downstrokes in the beginning where I used 2 fingers. Here my index finger is preoccupied with playing other notes. So the only option I have is to play this downstroke using only my middle finger. After the downstroke, my index finger is ready to continue. And the good news is, this part remains completely intact from the simplified version. But just look at the beauty of how this phrase works already. The third bar also contains some muting, namely all these open strings are muted because open strings generally sound too loud in this part of the riff. But again, look at the simplicity and the beauty of this little phrase where Mark plays a muted string on the downbeat, which gives him a split second to move through positions, land on the 5th fret, and then do the same again on the 5th fret. Effortlessly and precisely. Using the same finger in the fretting hand and wasting no energy whatsoever. I can do it a whole day, no problem. Now I'll play the entire phrase slowly and hopefully you understand better how it works. 1. Or something. So this little riff is a great example of Mark's finesse as a player. Everything here is laid down perfectly. Every single move is here for a reason. I especially love this position shift. But also triple muted strings. All the accents, pauses, pull-offs. It's amazing that you can spend so much time discussing a simple 2-part phrase opening in a simple Dire Straits song. But what a beginning. And it explains why I'm still here all these years later, still talking about this. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching and keep knoflering.